Well, I'm doing all the work myself now. We're not making enough money to pay our bills right now. There's live wires behind me and some insulation and concrete. We've got to hang some drywall in the second grossest bathroom in America. It's lunchtime. Here I am eating processed meat and American cheese. And it tastes like I'm in 5th grade. Welcome to the not so glamorous side of the marijuana industry.
Marijuana, pot, grass, whatever you want to call it, is probably the most dangerous drug in the United States.
I shall continue to oppose efforts to legalize marijuana.
I inhaled frequently. That was the point.
What we're doing now is creating the next big tobacco of our time.
This is a highly regulated business.
We're talking about daylighting a black market activity.
We are on the cutting edge of a brand new industry.
This is absolutely the next gold rush. This is the green rush.
Now the dominoes are falling, especially when they see the economic revenue.
There's $2 billion to be had next year. I plan to take more than my fair share. Caitlin, I just got off the phone with the MED. Well, technically Michelle from the MED.
Yeah.
And check out this voicemail.
Is it good?
Hi,
Yeah.
Brian. It's Michelle
Real
with
good.
MED. Just calling to let you know your license application was approved. You should be able to apply to be an owner as well. So let me know what your plan is. I can get you copies of the paperwork. Thank you. Bye-bye.
How about that?
Oh my gosh.
So the licensing
Oh my
supervisor
gosh.
at MED
They finally
left me a voicemail
called.
that's a permanent record that said I should be good to go.
Oh my gosh.
That's as good as it gets right now. I'm gonna mount that voicemail somewhere.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We've been waiting for months for that.
I can't wait to get a red badge like that.
Congratulations.
Thanks, baby.
This means I can actually maybe one day leave the company.
I can't wait to be the first person to fire you.
I called Brian of the Cannabis Club to kind of see what he was thinking with the Main Street fight, and he wants to be a wholesaler.
Oh, really? Yeah, that changes things.
If I fight for keeping shops on Main Street, he is the one person that benefits more than anyone out of that passing, which means I am most directly putting money into the hands of a competitor. Granted, he has no idea what I'm doing, so he has no idea how stupid it was.
He doesn't think that you have anything like that going on in your mind, you know?
Completely. Or is it better to take him down, hit him where it hurts now, and not have to deal with it later?
I moved to Breckenridge in 1988, right out of college, to kill a year between figuring out what I was going to do with the rest of my life, and started a small business, and it's grown into a big business here in Breckenridge. I moved to Breckenridge with $400 and worked my tail off for a lot of years to accumulate the equity to go and build these buildings. And when we finish our newest resort, we will have, knock on wood, sold over $1 billion of timeshare in Breckenridge. People should listen to what we have to say and hear our perspective. And I've talked to plenty of business people in this community who are fine with pot, but not fine with it on Main Street today. You know, as a community, let's take a mental bong hit and wait a couple years.
Our town council just voted to take this issue to a special election. So they will be asking the people of Breckenridge basically an advisory question. They're just trying to get direction of what the council should do. So if people vote yes, that means yes, we want to see zoning for marijuana downtown in Breckenridge's Main Street. If they vote no, that means we do not want to see any marijuana for sale downtown, which for us would mean that we have to move.
I still wish I wouldn't have voted to send it to a special election. Like, where was my spine? Our town should not be in the business of picking and choosing where every little store is going to be.
It's been months and months and months of discussion over what to do with zoning and is that fair? I know life's not fair, but I feel like no one has asked the question, is it fair to make us move? They've only asked about the competition, is it fair to them? They weren't ever limited to Airport Road when they chose their location. We actually had competitors downtown. Another thing that's ironic, if we had the competitors downtown that we had 2 or 3 years ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation because there is no way that the council would ask 3 businesses to move their location. Safety in numbers.
"34 years next month I have lived in Breckenridge. It's changed in a lot of ways. The historic preservation has been fabulous. If somebody wanted a good location to sell recreational marijuana, they probably want to be on Main Street or very close to Main Street. We've spent over $1 million in the last 4 years putting in new landscaping, new sidewalks, to have the money that this town has to create a first-class indoor ice arena, first-class recreation center. We're building a $9 million library / community center / movie theater. But if we damage our sales tax revenue stream, then we may decrease our ability to fund all these goodies, these terrific amenities. So a lot of people talk about marijuana on Main Street, and this is what they're worried about. We still don't know for sure if it's a problem or not for the brand and for the family-oriented aspect of Breckenridge. So that's why I've been a no vote from the get-go.
I'm concerned that Brian is being mellow. I'm concerned that he doesn't expect to have to fight. If I didn't have a grow, I would probably just sit back quietly and see how it plays out. So here's what I love and what I hate about business. You have to move. You have to do something. I don't know what that something is yet, but I have to do something. It was definitely a chess match.
I love all this new construction. I just love the smell and the sea. It's like so much new, different stuff all at one time.
Oh my gosh, look at these tables.
This is larger than the entire space we rented for our garden in Breckenridge by almost double. Just this room. That included our bathroom and our veg and our trimming and everything. This is just flower. This is just one of our big flowering rooms. When we bought this building, it was 8,000 square feet. The second story wasn't here.
Just a empty concrete shell more than anything. Yeah. So we've had to come in and build the inside of the building that we need and want.
The way it needs to be for a professional garden. This will be the laboratory. This is where the extractors will go, and they'll be processing the trim into concentrates.
The idea is, with all this extra bud, we're gonna have a lot of extra trim and products to make concentrate with.
All of the little trimmings that you don't smoke, everything still gets the THC crystals all over it.
There's so many uses for one plant between your whole bud that you're selling, then your fan leaves, which you're making into an oil for your edibles, to your sugar leaf that you're making into concentrate.
Hash is now made using hydrocarbon extraction, using butane as the solvent. The difference being that the wax is going to be whipped, and so it becomes frothy, and so those residual solvents come out a lot faster. And so you got like a 12-hour purge on that. Whereas the shatter, you're looking at no whipping and just letting it sit in a vac chamber. That's more of like a 7 to 12 day at lower temperatures, like 103-ish.
Something to keep in mind with concentrates is they're much stronger than your typical flower or bud.
A good way to put it is concentrates is like your tequila or your whiskey versus bud being your beer.
In a typical gram of marijuana, it ranges from 12% THC all the way up to 27, 28% THC. This here is 88% THC.
Okay, so this is a wax smoking pen. This is a battery part, the same thing that like an e-cigarette has. And then the difference, ceramic foil in there. Same idea, you break a little piece off and put it in there and it burns.
Just super scientific way to get high.
It's illegal to make wax your own. You gotta have a special license to do that. I wouldn't say Mahatma is a monopoly, but I mean, they're just really good at what they do, so I'd say they get more business than most.
Well, right now, we pay $15,000 a month just for the 2 stores we have to get all the wax they need processed.
We'd like to do 50-50 on wax shatter for all of our sugar leaf.
So this trim trade contract is, we're buying this trim for $1.
Okay.
And you're gonna buy it back from us for 10 for wax, 12 for shatter. Yeah.
correct.
You could have 2 extractors against that wall with plenty of working space, right?
Absolutely.
2 extractors there, you could have 2 more here.
Absolutely.
Because we want to process other people's stuff.
Yep.
So the money savings comes right away.
All right, come on in. We'll kind of show you the extraction facility.
So how dangerous is this process?
Not nearly as dangerous as it used to be.
We're being challenged with hash oil production. They force butane through the cannabis and extracts the oil. You can get a spark from the compressor from the refrigerator or from a light switch, and it'll cause an explosion.
From the research I've done, there's definitely a need for some regulations around setting up a room like this.
Yeah,
and
so
there
they don't
aren't
blow
any.
up.
Absolute worst case scenario is you have a leak, you don't detect right away, the room fills up with gas, and yes, this corner of the building explodes. Literally. Literally.
Everything's closed loop. All of our gas is going to be reclaimed from this chamber back into here. If for any reason we did have some sort of leak or anything like that, we do have these ducting systems in place.
Okay. So if there were a leak, you could just pull it right out of this room.
Right, and we have monitors in here now, so if there is a leak, we're alerted to it immediately.
Awesome.
In comparison to safety of what it was before and where it is now, it's night and day.
By the time we're done with this whole place, 16,800 square feet of lab, kitchen, flowering room, trimming, manicuring, offices, it's gonna be about $1.5 to $2 million. The biggest thing that ever happened to our company was recreational legalization, by far. And then the next biggest thing that happened to our company was deciding to use that potential to grow instead of taking all the money home. Every bit of profit is going back into the company. They're very low margin for error. We don't have the $1.5 million right now. We're doing this as we go. And so if during the election we lose, that means we have till February the 2nd. So 4 months from now, we have to fund this project entirely, or we'd be out of business. It'd be a nightmare.
I own Breckenridge Galleries. I've had the business for 38 years. The base of support that we have is predominantly a second home base where we are shipping work all over the United States.
I'm a bit of a libertarian. I don't know your political background, but I believe in smaller governments, local governments, autonomy to be able to do what what the state of Colorado chose to do with legalization, and not have Obama tell us one way or the other that can or can't do something.
And I am an independent, and my bone isn't to pick with you on this one, it's to pick with the town. It had been determined that you were going to move down to Airport Road. The fact that you're going to be here and have a visual impact over the holiday period is disheartening to me. It's going to be great for you, it's going to be great for the sales tax revenue of Breckenridge, but it's going to remove the character, the fiber, and it's going to destroy it, I think, in a very, very short period of time.
Could you tell me why you believe that those new people are the kind of people that will destroy town?
I have collectors who've said they love to smoke pot, but they do not want pot on Main Street because they want to bring their families here, their kids and their grandkids, to Breckenridge.
You don't think people that smoke weed love art, though?
They may like to look at it. And
but they don't spend the money you want them to spend.
I think I could become a museum, and I could become a nonprofit overnight, and that's something that, isn't going to fly.
At this point, I don't think we've seen the magnitude of how it will affect us.
We're both begging for our bread and butter right here. So what I'm trying to do is leave this conversation with the potential for us to approach council, or one of us to approach council, and be able to agree when we leave the podium.
No.
Well, you want to end it there?
Yeah, let's end it.
It was nice talking with you.
You too.
Hey, Gary, let me ask you something. Do you know the owner of the City Market Plaza?
Yeah.
In that plaza, you've got our biggest grocery store, biggest liquor store in the county. It's close to the gondola.
And there's a bus route.
And it's on the bus route. So we've got gondola, bus route, walking district, and parking district. We would dominate the town. I think our sales will go up. I would walk off Main Street at the end of my lease in February, or sooner, if I could get into City Market. City Market is the only location in Breckenridge we can go to that is still near the tourists. It's just getting the landlord to let us in there so we could end this whole controversy.
We could basically stop this thing in its tracks.
In its tracks, I would love to.
I'll tell you what, I'll go to work for you, because what I'll do is I'll get this out.
I appreciate it.
I'll be on the phone to see who
All
I
right.
can make contact with.
I would love it, man. I tell you, we've been dying for that for a year.
Started the conversation.
I can't imagine any other business being as hard to run as this marijuana business has been. Brian and I both believe that if I was removed from the business, that things would just be a little bit easier on him and I and our personal relationship. Whether it's tomorrow for me or 5 years down the road, hopefully we can get there one day. Even though I might be buying meals for a whole week or for 2 weeks, you know, when you see like a $200 grocery bill, it's pretty hard to cough that up, especially when we're living on credit right now. I totally worry about Brian being on his own, managing the business. Even though I know that he supports me and just wants me to be happy, I feel totally guilty walking away. Not that I've done it yet, but I do plan to. There's been so much work for us to do that there are definitely areas of expertise that I've taken on. For example, we have an online state-mandated inventory tracking system that he has barely ever touched. And that's a huge part of running this business. I think he's freaking out a little bit about all of the stuff that he has to learn. It's a lot more for Brian to take on. Fingers crossed that works out. All right, thank you. This is a nice day off for me right now. It's a nice break from what I'm usually doing.
Oh, if cameras could pick up sand. That's the lime green skunk there. And here I have all of my flowering girls. I have a medical marijuana license that allows me to grow. I got 12 plants because I do make some bubble hash and make my own edibles.
Sunny probably knows more than almost, I think, maybe anyone in the company about concentrates.
I am going to Oak Creek to, work underneath a chemist to really get the science down behind the hash.
I think he's a really good fit for the job.
Big things, hopefully, for this guy.
Concentrate sales made up 20% of all of our sales, which to us was
shocking. We need to actually put him to work.
Oh, hey, y'all.
Hey.
Welcome to OC.
Right now, it's still just potential, If you're not nervous at this point, at least a little bit, you're not human. I have never dreamed of being able to make hash on this kind of scale in my life, and it's gonna be awesome. Lots of hard work to do, but work ain't nothing.
I'm still ruminating for sure. I will say that Brian is not my first choice of someone to work with. I don't trust him, so any alliance would be a very calculated alliance. I really hate to lose, but I think that I have the appropriate strategy to make it win.
Who do you work for now, by the way? Or do you?
At the moment, I have no interest in this stake. At the moment, I am just interested in what's going on. I don't work for any.
Where's your skin in this game?
I don't have any skin in this game right now. I care about the industry.
Okay.
I'm fearful that it is going to look like, hey, this town had marijuana and then suddenly decided they didn't want it and are backpedaling.
Like as if they were to say, like, we tasted legalization and it wasn't for us. Sure, sure.
So I'm afraid that that's going to look bad industry-wise.
If it goes the wrong way at the election.
If it goes the wrong way.
She's being dishonest. I think she's hiding something. How do you feel about the election these days?
I see it failing.
Really?
I do.
Okay.
I really do. I feel like you're in a situation where you need to find some friends.
Maybe.
I would like to help you guys do that.
What do you have to gain from bringing us together? I still don't understand. I'm hesitant to work with someone who doesn't disclose their motivations.
The value that I bring is actually helping you guys to campaign.
Okay.
That's what I'm really talking about.
Sure.
Really coming in and helping you guys to organize in a sense in terms of what are you going to do, putting the plan in place, and actually executing against that plan, because I would love to step in and help.
Sure, sure.
And my motivation is clearly money.
Yeah, right? To get, I assume it's to get
Everybody
paid or
wants to get
have
paid.
some outcome you want.
Everybody wants to get
Yeah,
paid.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe she's got a plan, and I don't believe she's telling me that plan. There was too many underlying motivations that she won't discuss for me to trust her. Imagine that I have a location picked out that's not sitting in the same parking lot as the other guys.
Okay.
I may leave Main Street voluntarily and ask council to just drop this topic, let's wash our hands, because even if the vote happens and it's 51 to 49 one way or the other, 49% of people are gonna be furious.
Too little, too late on that plan.
Maybe.
Too little, too late on that plan.
Maybe.
That is the most ludicrous. I get it, right? I get that you are just trying to be in a good position.
Well, I also don't want to be the center of controversy.
I will scream from the top of my lungs at how ludicrous that is. There is no way that I will sit back and watch you do that. That is the biggest load of bullshit.
What did I say in there that made her angry?
I get frustrated with his attitude. He's smug with me. And he's the guy who sits there and smiles and nods at you the whole time. I will challenge the of you. Allowing it to fail is not an option.
Why?
For you, you could think that it was going to be allowed to fail. I'm not going to let that happen. I will walk into your competitor's door tomorrow, and I will say, we are fighting for this on Main, and this is why, and this is what you are paying me to do. First of all, he was pushing. He was looking for me to scare him into hiring me.
There's clearly another reason that she wants this to happen, and I'm trying to figure that out.
He in no way respects that I'm a real threat to him, and that's my doing. I would rather him dismiss me and share more information than he should with me. So no, I'm not insulted at all. I know that right now he thinks his contingency plan is better than anybody else's, but at this point, he either can cooperate in the fight to be on Main Street, or he can be hurt by it. It's already going to go to the vote, and I'm going to campaign actively and adamantly for marijuana on Main Street at this point.
I think that once we get this place up and running with a bunch of employees and get some more crew up, it's going to be a whole different scene up here.
The hardest part is breaking through the regulations and ensuring you can comply with all of them. It's very expensive and time-consuming. So we're going to finish this construction up here and open the infused products. It's the laboratory and the kitchen. We still have that whole mess to deal with, and that's the largest section of regulations that exists. Edible products have been the big hang-up in legalized marijuana.
There are growing concerns about public safety, especially when it comes to edible products. A pot brownie or cookie may contain nearly a dozen doses of marijuana.
The side effects can be serious, including delirium and psychosis.
Edibles are all right down below. This is a brownie, cereal bar. This is, we call it a rookie cookie. It's kind of like a 10 milligram, an entry-level dose.
Prior to January 1st, speaking to some of our paramedics, we really can't recall edible marijuana incidents. For the first 6 months of the year, we've run approximately 25 calls.
I think one of the mistakes that we've made in Colorado to date is in the area of edibles. The marijuana products that are sold today are quite different than those of us who grew up in the 60s and 70s experienced.
Edible marijuana products, they're the toughest ones to ensure consistent potency and proper usage.
What we have is somebody who will take a couple of bites of a cookie and not feel any effect. And so naturally their response is to eat more and more and more.
The idea that you would have a cookie and the recommended dose of marijuana would be 1/8 of a cookie, I mean, that's crazy.
One brownie I've seen mess up 250-pound guys and 100-pound guys the same.
People just aren't listening, they aren't reading the labeling, they aren't listening to the bud tender, they just eat the whole thing.
A lot of folks might eat one candy bar in one sitting, but that's where people are getting into trouble because this candy bar actually contains 5 doses of edible marijuana.
The drug itself is not going to be something that causes any danger for the patient. But we haven't consistently come up with what is an appropriate dosage for those different concentrations of marijuana. That kind of public education would really save us from a lot of people having problems with overdoses.
It's always something different. We've seen grandma or grandpa basically huddled in the corner of a room. He looked up and I was like, oh good, I'm glad you guys are here because my brain is trying to eat itself.
We do reassure them that, hey, you're high, and this too shall pass. I guess the biggest negative to what we're seeing is that if we get called out on one of these incidents, which is a benign incident, it detracts from our ability to respond to possibly a more severe incident. It's like any new hazard that we're faced with, we have to adapt to it.
I tried to overdose on weed one time. Just slept for like 17 hours.
Hey man.
What's up, dude?
I'm gonna prepare the filters and the ducting, and when I need you ready for the muscle, hold it up in the air. Thanks.
Sounds good.
The building inspector was pretty confident that the little things I have to get done are no big deal. He pointed out a bunch of little nuances that, like we've got a hole in the wall there and a hole in the wall there that we haven't enclosed yet. Those have to be done before we can get certified. More importantly, first I gotta get these filters hung. All right, you and me together. We're just trying to get it all done as fast as possible. So close, but yet so far.
When do you think we're gonna get plants in here?
I'm hoping to be able to bring them up here Friday. The inspector said today that had we passed today, from their perspective, we would have been good to go.
Cool.
So he said he doesn't see any reason why we won't pass on Friday. Every time we think we're done, it's more money. Every time we spend money, it's not all of the money that needs spent. We're all waiting for the day this thing is up and running.
Doing a great job.
Thanks. I think we switched roles from what I had planned originally.
How's it going?
Good, crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You guys all over the place right now?
All over the place. You know,
God.
just trying to get geared up for the season and...
So essentially, pretty much tomorrow or within the next few days, it's time to kick off this campaign for advocating for marijuana on Main Street.
Are we fighting to stay on Main?
Now that we're moving down this and now that I'm more involved in the industry, given what we're doing and given our, partnership, I start to worry about the industry as a whole. It's gonna look like Breckenridge said, hey, we're all for marijuana, but wait, never mind, we're not really okay, we're gonna hide you away and think about it for a while.
See, I feel the exact opposite.
Okay.
I feel like
I did not expect to have this conversation.
They would respect it more if it wasn't so abrasive.
So here's the...
Because, I don't think it should be on Main. You know that. I really don't. I never have thought that.
I didn't know that.
Gabe and I, we own Soulshine Dispensary. We're part owners. We are one of the people on Airport Road. I grew up very religious, very sheltered. Most of my family does not know what I do. They don't know we own Soulshine. My son is almost 9, my oldest son. They have no clue what marijuana is. As a dispensary owner, I don't feel that we have an advantage by being on Main Street whatsoever, except BCC.
When I met with Brian a week or two ago, he told me, and who knows, right?
Okay.
So one of the opposition's landlords has actually offered him a lease that is off Main, out of that downtown overlay district, but is in a better location than where you guys are.
Okay, where's that?
My immediate response was City Market, and he said they're not letting anybody in there. But the thing is, if there's a landlord that's opposed to marijuana and has said no to everyone this whole time, but by allowing Brian to buy that lease out would actually remove it from Main Street, they may be willing to do that now. If it's half a mile closer, he retains the tourist market. There's a dilemma if it loses, Brian gets kicked off of Main, but he has the significant lease, then he's got an advantage over you guys for years to come. And then he's gonna still continue to hold that monopoly on the tourist market.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I just feel like we're picking the wrong battle.
It's the uncertainty. Uncertainty is not, I don't think it's a good thing in any business. And I think that those that are on the put pot shops on Main Street side of the argument, they don't know, they're just making an assumption that it won't hurt or that it may help. I think that's a level of arrogance almost to think that you know that it's gonna be okay when you don't and no one else does.
What do you need me to do?
I got Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Okay, I
What's
gotta
up?
look up this recipe real quick, actually.
Hey, I don't know, did you say wait till Friday? Christ almighty. Can we manifest stuff backwards from a store to a garden to get packaged, or what do we do there?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. 'Cause isn't there some...
Will you just call Shell and see if that's gonna work? She might have to call MED and find out. And then we'll decide what we're gonna do. All right, thank you. Bye. Well, good news is, construction in the garden, at least on the new flower room, is complete. It's completely built. It just needs to be inspected on
It
Friday.
looks so good
Doesn't
in
it look so
there.
much
I
better than
can't
everything we've ever
wait till it's filled with marijuana plants.
So you do or don't want to keep working for the company? Right now, you
I don't
sound
know.
pretty optimistic.
I'm in a good mood today, I guess.
I can ruin that for you.
I know.
I could bring up.
I'm gonna add all
I could
this
bring up
stuff.
our bills for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, as stressed out as you are these days, I'm sure next year things will be better.
I'm sure.
I mean, I've only been saying that to you for half a decade now. Don't worry, baby. Things will be better next year.
I know.
Work's a disaster.
Work is a disaster. What's new?
I don't like business propositions where I don't know what the outcome is going to be. Worst case scenario, if we put more retail shops on Main Street, is that fewer guests come here, that we jeopardize the economic driver of the community, which is tourists. Why would we choose to alienate those people by having such an in-your-face statement with legalized pot? I started a political action committee that is trying to send a message to council via a special election that we don't want retail marijuana stores on Main Street. In our community, we rarely let an individual business start to dictate policy for the balance of the community. So I hope that Brian can accept the result of the election. If you're on the wrong side of it, you don't like it, but, hey, that's the way our country works.
I have not seen Brian really step up and motivate anyone outside of his friends. When Brian says to me, I don't want to spend a lot of money, I bang my head against the wall because, what do you mean you don't want to spend a lot of money? Do you understand how much money there is to lose? Brian was in the right place at the right time on January 1st. He made a ton of money. He made a ton of money, right? That ton of money he can now use to propel and grow his business. No one else made that money. Brian made it because he had a monopoly on Main Street. Cash is king in this business, and he's about to lose the cash cow if he doesn't do something.
Ugh. Not in the mood to talk to Catherine.
You want to call her back?
Not right at the moment, no.
Oh, okay.
No. Mm-hmm.
Right here. Good girl. In the back of my mind, I'm definitely stressing this election. Yeah, go get it. I moved up here. I changed my life for this position. It's stressful. It's been probably the most stressful 9 months of my life, for sure. I don't know my boss's plan. I'm here to do a lot what they tell me to do and what they tell me not to do. I don't know what his plan is.
My gut today says it's going to fail. God, I hate that. I hate to admit that I'm wrong. I've offered. I told Brian and Caitlin, I can introduce you to some great people that can run this campaign for you. Nothing. I can't help them if they do not want to be helped. It's not my job. It's not my business. I've done all I can do for Brian and Caitlin.
It's not my business. I've worked hard for this for, a consecutive 10 months. He's done this for 5 years. So, he always has something in his back pocket. I hope he's got some other move going on. Go. That's all I can hope for. I put faith in him.
I've got another question.
Yeah, what's up?
We are trying to figure out some stuff in the accounting system.
Joy.
You seem to be the best one at this since the rest of us really don't use it. Right now, Nick and I are trying to do the accounting because Breckenridge, the Cannabis Club, paid a bill with its on-hand cash for the Crested Butte Wellness Center.
Yep.
I just want to know, how do we account for that so that it affects the safe count at Breckenridge, but pays the bill and accounts for it as an expense of the Crested Butte Wellness Center, in case we ever wanted to sell off.
It's hard. Brian and I are very dedicated, and we're very passionate about the business. And if the two of us can't get all of the work done that we need to get done, it just certainly runs through my mind. How is Brian going to be able to handle that all on his own? And I know that he doesn't stress about the business the same way that I do, but I would still worry about him. The business needs me too much for me to just be able to walk away. But there are other things that I want to do with my life besides just work. Hi.
What's wrong?
It's nothing. Same old, same old. I'm kind of over it.
I've heard that. More than once. Oh, we're waiting for the inspector to show up. It's a huge day. If we can get permitted today, this is big. We're gonna be moving our first round of plants into our new flower rooms. These plants are getting way too tall. If they get any taller, they'll be too tall for the flowering room, and we may actually have to kill them or hack them back to a point where they're not gonna produce the way they were once gonna. We're talking about $6 grand a day that we're not making because We're behind schedule. I went around caulked, and there's a lot of clear caulk around. I caulked everything in here. So I'd like to take a look at all that.
Wall and this wall you ain't gotta worry about. But I also got a mechanical rough.
Yep.
And mechanical final.
Yep.
And I also got plumbing final. Is the bathroom done in?
No, you can't get Chad to show up for sure.
So I can't give you a TCO even.
Without that, I was hoping that this was saying just to do this room.
You do have to have bathrooms.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yep. So before I can have plants up here, you're gonna have to be able to get upstairs, wash your hands, and have a handrail. Is that accurate?
I just shut a breaker off.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
So you need more power. You need more circuits, more breakers.
Yeah.
More, bigger, better.
Are they? You got it.
So it's not a fail. It's a reinspection required. Take one outlet out of every 4-pack. Well, buddy, I apologize. You have a little work to do.
Till this project, we've never failed an inspection ever. I feel like we failed 80% of what you guys come out to look at here. This has been a disaster.
It's an unfortunate situation where it seems to be all marijuana shops on Main or none, and Brian is the one caught in the crosshairs as the sole marijuana shop. As far as what Brian had the opportunity or was hoping to have the opportunity to do was to get into the city market development, and it appears that it absolutely made no sense to the developer.
The fact that Brian isn't putting money behind this, either he's dumb or he has some secret plan.
Hands are tied at this point. You just hope that the community comes out and supports us. I don't know the type of smear campaign that Dudek's gonna put out there. I don't know what his plan is. Basically, attack on us is all it is. It's not shops off Main Street, it's my shop off Main Street.
I don't want to be the point person necessarily on this pack thing, because I don't want people to, point the finger at Mike and say, oh, he's against this and he's the big bad wolf kind of thing. That's not where we're coming from on this at all. I don't like being a lightning rod for stuff like that. I mean, I'm a business guy. I'm going to be pro-tourism and pro-business in this community, and that's what I did.
Dudek is just being a dick. It's just so infuriating. I don't even know what to say. Like, give me a break, man. He makes millions of dollars, and he's on the way to make more millions of dollars, and he's worried about a small little pot shop ran by 2 people.
It's an interesting message that we're sending so soon into at least my term by having a special election. The right people pressured the right people. And that just doesn't seem like a good reason to go to a special election.
I think at this point, the town has made its call, and we'll take it to a vote. December 9th is a pivotal time in the history of Breckenridge.
Since it is going to the special ballot question, I concede. I'll vote the way that the public wants.
I can't single-handedly raise my hand and say, vote for pot. I mean, Dudek is going to rip me to shreds.
I don't understand why we as a community would risk more of our brand, and the risk is lost business. And the benefit is that it's more convenient for people to buy it. That's the only upside to the argument to have pot shops on Main Street, is it's more convenient for the consumers of a sought good that they have to travel somewhere to, a couple miles to buy it. I think that people should they should weigh the risks and the benefits.
Dudek comes in and thinks it's okay to just kick a business out of town because he doesn't like it. I mean, or he obviously does like it. He comes and shops at our stores. I mean, can he be any more hypocritical than that? I mean, come on, give me a break.
Did you buy weed in BCC?
Yeah, several times.
Did you, under medical?
Yeah. No, not under medical. I bought it at retail.
Oh, under recreational?
Yeah. I've been in there. I have no problem with pot. I think that the thing.
You voted against it though, right?
No.
Being on Main.
I wanted them to move because I think that brand of Breckenridge Main Street is that it doesn't belong there.
So for you as a local, why did you go into BCC and not go to?
Because it was convenient. I went to BCC because I didn't want to have to drive down there.
Experience like at BCC.
They're great. They're nice people. And I'm happy that they're doing well, but I think that I'm trying to look at this from 30,000 feet and not from 3 feet in the weeds. So.
You're going to lose this campaign.
I disagree.
You are a dumbass sometimes.
If anyone wants to register to vote, I have forms. I'm a free market capitalist.
But you don't believe in the free market approach to marijuana?
at least 50% of dispensaries take black market marijuana.
We have become the black market for at least 40 other states that we can identify.
We're going to now have drug dealers downtown.
Part of me has been like, well, you know what? Screw it. Let's just leave town altogether.
Trying to tell us what businesses can and can't be run, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
If revenue gets cut in half, we need less than half of the employees we have right now.
We're going to be known as the council that's kicking a business off Main Street.